All right, what's poppin', everybody? Welcome to episode 10 of the podcast.
What up, what up, what up?
Episode 10. We've been pumping these out left and right, it feels like. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about regret. But before we get into that, merch drop Wednesday, which is in 2 days. Be ready for that. But without further ado, we're just going to mostly off dome talk about regret and how regret could really put a damper on your life if you let it get to you.
So. Can definitely hinder your emotional state. That's straight up a factual statement. Like it destroys people. Regret is what people look at every single day. Like, oh, I should have done that instead of this.
Could have done that right then.
But it's just not worth your emotional pain to sit through that and think about what you could have done. I mean, at a certain point, it's good to strategize into the future so that won't happen again. Mm-hmm. But it's just not healthy to sit and dwell on that thought of what you could have done different. Like, it's in the past. There's no going back.
There's no going back. Never going back. Like, that's with football. For like me, even though like I never even thought about playing football in high school because like the summer workouts and shit. Like, yeah. But now I watch people play. I'm like, damn, that would have been really fun. But like, what can I do? Nothing. So why even beat myself up over it?
Right. Yeah. Let me take a crack at this. So, I don't know. It's tricky. I think we can all agree that regret is not something that you want to dwell on. Like, it's not even obvious that regretting things at all is good. Like, people always, I mean, it's hard to talk about this without getting super cliche super quickly. But like, living with no regrets, like, it kind of makes sense that would be like how you want to go about like going through the world. I mean, I don't know, just from talking to people, like I've had a lot of people tell me experiences or just decisions they've made that it sounds like as they describe the event, it's so obvious that they like regret it from the way they describe it. Yeah. But then if you ask them right after, if you go, well, do you regret that? They'll say no. Like, which is weird, and I guess I don't really understand why. Like,
I can give you a reason why.
Let's hear it.
It's because you're there in the moment. Like, you and I are right here. Alex, you're here. Everything that we've done has led up to this. So our bad decisions, our good decisions, everything has led up to this moment. Mm-hmm. So for us to say, oh, I shouldn't have done that, we could be skewing our future. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we learned from everything, and we're here now.
Yeah, we could be on a totally different route if we took one different action.
Right.
So sometimes people are in situations that are not their preferred present moment reality, and they're like regretting past decisions that could lead them up to that non-preferred present moment.
I do think that's a great point. I mean, just speaking like evolutionarily, the function of regret probably is to make sure that you don't do things that you like know you shouldn't do. Yeah. Like, I don't know, maybe your ancestor one time thought it might be a good idea to like play chicken with like a tiger or something, and then got fucked up and said, well, I regret that.
See, regret is good in ways. You just have to look at it from the outside perspective. Like, pull something positive from it, you know? Mm-hmm. You just gained a valuable piece of life information, and you've learned from that. You might not do it again, but, I mean, at least you pulled that piece of information so you know in the future how to act.
That's what I think a lot of people should implement into their lives, is that they don't lose. You know, if you learn something, you're not losing ever. Mm-hmm. So if people had that mindset, I feel like a lot of people would be easier on themselves, because they're like, well, I learned that I'm not going to do that ever again, so I'm not really losing anything because now I know.
Yeah, and that's one of those cliches that, however true it may be, you can't really talk about this without bringing that up. Yeah. Kind of what you said earlier that I thought was really interesting is like it's not obvious at all how the situations and decisions you've made thus far have led you up to this point. Like, it's definitely possible that, well, first of all, before I get into that, like, regret is tricky because there's definitely things that we've done that we don't want to do again. Exactly. But that's true, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you regret it. Mm-hmm. Like, regret kind of has a negative connotation to it. Like, there are things that you just know you're not going to do again.
You just know. Exactly. You don't really regret it. You're just like, all right, I know.
But you're not like mad that you did it.
Yeah. Because at one point, it's exactly what you wanted. You know? Like, you can't be mad at... That's why I don't regret anything, because at one point, I wanted to do it. So I did.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. That right there is a great justification, like, to tell yourself to not regret anything. It's, why would you ever regret anything? Because at one point, that's what you wanted.
Exactly
like,
what you wanted.
Exactly.
At one point, you thought about all the consequences, and you still did it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't beat your past self up, because
Exactly. And
what is that going to do?
like, to like wrap that around to the point that I made when I started talking is, like, there's a good chance that a lot of the things that we have done that we wouldn't do again, but we don't necessarily regret, if we didn't do those things or make those, like, mistakes, if that's what you want to call them, then we wouldn't be here right now.
Like here, like we
Exactly.
Like, people tend to forget that it's not only your good decisions and your good actions that make you, like, it's all your mistakes too. Like, that's also you. I mean, you shouldn't let one singular mistake define you, but, like, all your experiences is you. Like, all the bad things you've done, that's you, as
Right.
well as
That
the good
is you.
things.
I want to touch on this topic. If someone is going through a really rough time and they are regretting a decision that was pivotal in their life, like, I can't stress this enough. I've said this before. The only two things that you can control, that no one else can control in your life, is your attitude and your effort.
Right.
and your actions and reactions.
Right. Basically interchangeable.
Interchangeable.
Those with your attitude, you can look at that regret a whole new way, right? So you can take a positive from a negative. And with your effort, you can put effort into your conscious to not make that regret or that decision that you made happen again. So those just go interchangeably, and no one else can take those away from you. I mean, you can certainly let people manipulate those, but you have the ultimate power to not let people manipulate those.
Yeah.
Now you can, but just you cannot let anyone mess with those two ideas.
I mean, what just popped in my head as you were saying that is, I think that is a great strategy for getting over regret, or maybe getting past it rather, is you have to put in the effort, like what you just said, to think about what happened, think about the situation, the decision, and, like, extract something from value from it. That way, it's no longer just dead weight on you.
Yeah,
like,
that's
if
such a
you
good way to put it.
figure out what the lesson was and, like, what the moral,
Because there will
of
be
the
a lesson.
situation
There will be
was.
a lesson behind everything.
Yeah,
I love how you put it. You say
Yeah.
extract
Of the value from it.
Yeah,
Like,
so
that was fire.
Yeah, if you can do that, I think that's a great way to kind of get past regret, because it's not weighing on your conscience anymore. If every time that thought comes around, it's like, okay, I've thought about this before. I know that this is the lesson here, and just being mindful of that.
And instead of regretting your action, try to understand why you took that action, and then take a step back and be like, all right, well, this is why I did that, and I can definitely understand why I would do that. So I'm not going to beat myself up. And sometimes, like, your parents don't help you at all in those regretful situations, like when you sneak out of the house and they catch you. Like, obviously, that's not something you should really regret, but your parents implement it on you so heavy that, like, you should regret that and not do it again. But, like, that's just one of those things where I feel like it's totally reasonable, even though I'm not advocating people to sneak out.
Yeah.
Well,
But,
I mean, it's even more tricky than that, I would say, like, because just using that example, like, it's not obvious that you should regret sneaking out. I mean, maybe your parents are, like, super overprotective and they don't allow you to have fun. Then, in that situation, it might be, like, worth your time to sneak out.
Yeah.
But, like, if you're sneaking
Push
out,
yourself.
if you're sneaking out just to just be delinquent because you're rebelling against your parents, well, I mean, should you really be doing that? Like, the context is
That's when
everything.
You need
I
to
feel like that's
contemplate
also
that.
when you need to have a conversation with your parents about their boundaries and what you can get away with type shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like that's very important because, I mean, I never really had boundaries when I was growing up. Like, I would do incredibly stupid shit and somehow get away with it. So
We were always on some games.
yeah, we were always on some games, but, like, I feel like knowing what you can do and not have consequences is important, so you don't end up, like, getting in trouble unknowingly. You know what I mean? Like, doing something that you don't know is harmful. You know,
Right.
like, especially with, like, the law. I mean, because sometimes kids are out doing stuff that they don't know can really harm people.
Right. They're not just. They're just. It's more of a self-centered way of thinking.
Yeah,
You're just not thinking.
You're
of
just like,
others.
all right, let's just
In
go have some
an
fucking
instant
fun.
like that.
Like TPing, egging. Like you don't really. I mean,
It's
you
shitty.
know, you can get in
We've
trouble.
done that shit.
We've done it,
and
but
I won't do it again.
we
But
definitely learned from it because we got the wrong house. That was fucked. That was the best way to learn.
that's a lot of regret, right there.
That's a lot of regret, but like it's a great lesson.
Perfect.
It's a great lesson
Perfect
because we're
example
just
of it.
like oh my god, like fuck. That's like the universe.
destroyed
That's like the
that.
universe being like, all right, bro, come on, like you're gonna fuck up somebody's house like that, like come on. So like we don't even have to like beat ourselves up for it because like we just know that we fucked up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and anyone who's TP'd and got TP'd back knows
You're just
that
like,
you
damn,
kind of
yeah,
start
yeah.
to regret that.
You're like,
Oh, should I really have done that?
That just starts a chain of events.
And then your parents are like, why the fuck are we getting TP'd? And you're like,
Yeah, you get into this like TP and war, and you're just constantly like, fuck.
Damn it. That's so fucking
So who we
funny.
getting now?
So who we getting now? Like on to the next type shit.
Yeah,
Right.
That is how it goes sometimes.
That is how it goes. But
Regretting the past is like chasing after the wind, man.
chasing after the wind. Wow.
It's gone.
Dude, I feel like once people just start leaving the past behind them and not letting it have any relevance except for the lessons that they learned from their past in their present, they'll be so much happier. Like, because when I went through that shit, it was 95% all because of the past, and I couldn't get over like what the fuck happened.
I know.
I was letting it eat me alive, and then once I finally made the choice, it's all about making the choice, like the cognitive choice, where you're like, all right, I'm leaving that shit behind me, and you just can't look back. Like you make the choice and you don't look back, and then you don't second guess yourself, and you'll be mentally stably clear, I suppose. Like,
Dude, and I think the craziest part about what you just said is like you just said that when you were going through some shit, it was because of your past, right?
yeah.
But you're not going through some shit anymore, and your past didn't change. Like the past can't change.
It's still the same past it was.
Exactly, and that means like the change was in your head.
Exactly.
And, like,
damn.
Dude, it's just fascinating to me how, like,
Powerful.
like the past doesn't change, but you can use your mind to change interpretations
Dude, I
of
have
the
a
past.
really good quote for this. It's a lot of the times the problem isn't the problem; it's the way you think about the problem is the problem.
Yeah.
So like if
Very
you can
good.
change how you think about it, you'll change how you feel about
Say
it.
that one more time.
A lot of the times the problem isn't the problem; the way you think about the problem is the problem.
Most definitely.
I think that quote's fire, bro.
It is.
Yeah.
Because if you can change how you think about it, you can change how you feel about it. And if you change how you feel about it, you won't have any desire to hold on to it.
Yeah, I mean, like, just continuing down that line of thought, like, it's crazy how the past doesn't literally change, but the way you change the past in your head not only changes the present, but changes the future, too. And, like,
Damn.
I don't know, like, I think sometimes, like, when people get into situations that they regret, or maybe not regret, but wouldn't do it again, it's because they did something that they thought was one thing, but then something switched, and what they didn't switch, but it might have been the way they looked at it, or like what they thought they were doing wasn't what they were actually doing.
Right.
And it kind of like it changes the present and the future. It's just so weird to me how that stuff works.
It does. I have another little piece of advice. I would say once you make a dumb decision and you know it's dumb, immediately try to just throw that out of your mind. You know, it's already in the past. You can't do anything. Just look forward and look at what the repercussions could be. Because that's all you have to worry about now. You know, you can't go back and change what you just did.
Yeah.
Just start to look forward and start to plan ahead, so you can you can try to get one step ahead of it.
And
you know?
if your only repercussions from that choice are like you beating yourself up, it's literally not even worth
Correct.
holding. I heard this thing today, and it was so say you're holding a glass of water. You're holding it out like this, like it's a full glass of water. For like the first 5 minutes, you can do it, and then 10 minutes it starts to get
Then it
harder
gets
to hold,
heavy.
and then it starts to
Yeah.
get heavier. It's literally the same with mental problems. Like the
Yeah.
more you let them drag on in your head, the more prevalent they'll become. The harder they'll be to kick
weigh you
out.
down.
So
They
like
snowball.
exactly the snowball effect. You know about the snowball effect.
That's prevalent in everyone's
So
life.
the people that don't know about the snowball effect, it's when you first have that negative thought coming to your brain, and then you have another thought that matches that emotion coming to your brain, and then it just spirals down and spirals down and becomes. That's when you have panic attacks. by basically snowballing.
It's an anxiety buildup.
Exactly.
And
So once
you see that a lot.
once you notice that first thought come in, that intrusive thought, you have to change the thought immediately, or else it's just going to keep spiraling down. And you can change the thought to literally anything. Like, oh, what am I doing tomorrow? Oh, who am I going to see tomorrow? Like, literally fucking anything. Like, butterflies if you want. Like, snowball effect is incredibly crucial to realize. Like, take note of when you notice it coming.
Dude, that's funny that you bring this up because this morning, before I got my day started, I woke up and I was just like, all right, you know what? Every single time a negative thought comes in your head today, think of something else. And every single time that happened, I thought of something positive or something that makes me happy in my life. And it did wonders to my attitude today.
Crazy,
it was
bro.
insane about like, it just increased productivity. It increased overall mood, energy levels.
Good
It was
power.
awesome. Just throw that negative thought out.
The power of your thoughts, bro.
It's immense.
Unmatched.
Immense.
Unmatched, bro.
Yeah, I think another thing that's relevant to this topic is like something we always say. I know I've been saying this for years, but just charge it to the game.
Charge it
Like-
to the game.
Like that's
Charge it
really
to
how
the
it is.
game.
Like whenever you watch like professional sports and a player fucks up, like
Charge it to the
they
game.
literally just are like, shit, all right,
Charge
like,
to the game.
Yeah, get their
To the
ass
game.
slapped by their teammate, and then they're like on to the next one. They just charge it to the game
Because like I saw this one thing and it's like when the shooter's 0 for 9, that means he lost confidence.
Yeah,
Because
I think that was Deion Waiters quoting Kobe. He said, "I'd rather go like 0 and 15 than 0 and 9, because if you go 0 and 9, it means you lost confidence and you stop shooting."
You need the confidence.
Right.
You can't, like, especially with athletes, like you can't let those get to you. Like you literally, they have to have no weight. The fuck ups
Yeah.
have to have no weight. Or
I mean, if you get in your head about making bad plays, like
that was
you're not a good athlete. Like you're a liability on the field. Or
That's
the
what happened to
court.
me the other day when us three were hooping. I started getting pissed the fuck off. I was like, oh my god, I'm getting really fucking pissed. I was in my own head. I was literally in my own head to the point where I couldn't do shit because I just all I could think about was how bad I was fucking up.
Dude, that's one of the things that I really had to work on, like, throughout playing competitive sports in my life, because I used to always get so in my head about making bad plays, like, I wouldn't just let it go. And I think, like, I don't know, I feel like I'm at the point now where, like, when something happens, I literally just charge it to the game and then and keep
Charge
it
to the
moving.
game.
Like,
Charge it to the game.
I mean, that's
to
how
the
I was doing
game.
when I was hooping. Like, I remember a specific time we were hooping, like, it was when we played twos, Ty. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And I went up for, like, a layup, and I, like, just lost the ball completely, turned it over. Like, completely my fault. And I was just like, all right, my bad, guys. Let's get the next one.
You have to. That's literally what you have to do, or else you're gonna let it linger and fuck you up.
Yeah.
We should also talk about manifestation at some point. Probably in the next podcast.
Next podcast,
Because-
manifestation.
Because
Let's get it.
that shit is
Powerful.
power, and we could talk about
It's
that from
immense.
the power of your thoughts. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people need to understand the power of their thoughts. But we'll probably cash it right there. Yeah, 18 minutes.
For sure,
All
for
right.
sure.
I hope you guys enjoyed podcast number 10. We're getting a new mic tomorrow. 2 new mics, new tapestries. So the production value is about to be boosted up.
Yes, sir.
So I'm very excited for that. They were supposed to come today, but fucking Amazon.
Amazon.
All right. Thank you guys. We appreciate you being here, but we'll see you next time. Have a great day.
Stay woke.
Stay woke.